Good morning, everybody. Today is March 13th, 2021, and we are going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and the altcoins. And well, let's start off with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has made a new all-time high. We have broken $60,000. I just saw it in the watch list right before I started this recording, and this is the weekly chart. I am very, very bullish on Bitcoin on the weekly. Let's see where this week closes. If we close this candle above the body of this 3 candle and 4 candle, I am a raging bull for the rest of March. Taking a look at the daily is on an 8, and we are so close to this call, which is what I drew on this arrow right here. Now, this arrow was set to top on a 9 at $62,000, and I think we're on target to do that. So I'm very happy to see that play out. The RSI is looking great. We're in the overbought territory, but we're in the shallow end of it, and we can still move up. The MACD is crossed over to the positive side, and we are flying. Going over to the 4-hour. The 4-hour is on a 6 of 9. I think because this 5 candle is sitting and didn't move up too far, I think we can still get our 9 within the next, let's say within the rest of the day. So I think by midnight we will have topped on a 9, and tomorrow maybe a pullback day. The RSI is looking good. We are flirting around with the red danger zone on my 4-hour chart. However, we haven't broken above it. We're actually looking really, really strong here. The MACD is in the positive zone and is flipping back over to the upside. Going through the chart, where am I looking at a potential top? Well, this whole consolidation area is really, for me, needs to be measured from back here. And the way I measure it is with a fib extension. So coming from back here, from the low to the previous high all the way down to here, this is how I'm going to set my targets. And my first target is $92,000 on the extension. Now, the minimum I need to reach is 72. And I think 72 is very, very doable. I think we could do that within the rest of March easily. 90,000, however, I think is going to take us a little bit of time. I don't know if that'll be done sometime in April, but I would like to see $90,000 Bitcoin as a potential top. The thing I would be more concerned about is if we start getting into the 150 range off of this move up. That would be a little too high for me. However, if we do go there, I would be expecting probably a full retracement down into the $30,000 area. I wouldn't expect 50 or 60 to catch the price at that point. I would expect a full retracement down. We may have a bounce off the 50, 60 area, but I would expect this move to the downside to be very, very steep. Now let's go take a look at some of the alts. Let's go to Cardano, LBRY, BAT, and we'll look at Populous. So looking at Cardano on the 4-hour on the Bitcoin chart, Cardano's looking really good. It looks like it bottomed. Now that we've crossed back over into the RSI, I'm expecting a move up to the top of the normal range. So probably a touch over to the overbought position. I don't know where that's going to go. However, do note that in 1, 2, 3 candles, we have a 50 and 200 period moving average crossover on the 4-hour coming on the EMA. So I am expecting a move to the upside somewhere in this vicinity. Looking back, the easiest way for me to look for a retracement is just going to be taking this over here. And right now the 618 is playing in that area, and I would like to see that. If we can get all the way up to the 883, however, that would set, or the, I believe that's the 883. Yeah. If we can get up to the 883, however, that would set me back up for my 2200 Satoshi target, which is what I was aiming for when I went in over here. I got stopped out of my trade back here, and now we have, and I re-entered down here. So now I'm looking for a move to the upside. The way I'm playing this, we did have a 2 going above a 1, which would have been my double down area. However, this looks like a decent enough correction, and the way I can note that is by going into the lower level time frames, specifically the 30-minute time frame. It's going to tell me if this is a steep enough correction right here to set us off. Now, going down into here, I'm literally going to take a fib retracement, and I'm looking for the 618 touch. Now, I haven't seen the 618 yet. The 618 is my maximum area of support on the close that I need to see. Now, this move, we didn't touch it. We got to the 382. This one, we've gotten to the 50%. But if I take it from the wicks, we are getting closer. So you can measure it from the wicks or you can measure it from the bodies. I'm taking it from the bodies right now. And I think that we have a little bit more downside to go. Maybe a 1 to 4 candle right here, followed by a full move down to here. I don't believe we're going to retrace all the way down to this 883 area. However, I will be setting a little buy order there just in case, and if not, I will be catching it on the upside. So my play is going to be as a retracement down into this 848 area. As long as we don't break the low here, I'm consistently going to be good. My stop loss is actually going to be right below this low right here, so I don't get stopped out of this trade by setting my stop loss up here into the 840s. Now going back over into the 4-hour chart, which is the chart I am trading, what I would like to see is if this is going to change from a 1 to 4 candle correction, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or are we going to go back down and complete another 9? Now we've had 2 9s in a row right here without a good, without a break. We did have a 9 back here as well. However, we've had 1, 2. The 4-hour just hasn't been really, really good about this. The daily is more important to me, which is that we've seen this, and there is room on the daily to go down more. And the place I'd be looking to buy is going to be this 883. On the daily. That's also something to consider for me. All right, moving on. LBRY. Now, LBRY bummed me out. I did have a trade down here, but I was expecting to hit it down in this area, and my time targets were not telling me to hit this over in here. Now, we did wick down, and it looks like we got rejected by the top here, which is a sell area, which makes perfect sense to me. I could see LBRY still coming back down for one more final touch of the bottom of this symmetric triangle. I don't really have anything else to say on LBRY, specifically because there's not really anything to do in the symmetric triangle until it breaks one way or the other. And now my assumption is that it's going to break to the upside. And that's just because of the alt tech platforms and LBRY being one of them, also having more growth because of the censorship going on in the social media firms. Now, credit to YouTube. YouTube isn't really censoring that much right now. However, that probably will change. All right. After LBRY, we'll take a look at BAT. Now, BAT had a secondary pump up here, and it didn't get to my target, which was 1618. My 1618 target has been sitting there for a while. I am looking a little more seriously at where BAT could go now. And the unfortunate thing I'm seeing on this chart is that we have broken this trend line right here. We did break this trend. We did break back above it, and we fell back under. Now, my daily chart is what I need to switch to figure out where the next trend support is. And the next trend support for me is sitting somewhere in this area right here. So I'm expecting some type of touch all the way back down to this area. The secondary portion is going to look something like this, which we have broken down from. And we are being rejected by this 200 period moving average that is crushing down the price. Now, if we can close above this 200 period moving average, that makes me very, very bullish. One thing to note is that this wick over here in this area actually was a retest of this this spot back here, and this previous swing, which was the last swing high we had before the actual bottom, is telling me that we are starting a new uptrend because we have broken above it, made a higher low, made a higher high, made a higher low. Now, I don't know if this is where this higher low is going to be, but as long as it's above this trend line right here, I'm going to maintain my bullish posture on LBRY relative to Bitcoin. I just don't know when it's going to happen run-wise. Now, going to the weekly chart makes it look a little bit worse. Now, the weekly's on an 8. We may have one more day of upside coming. However, or one more week of upside coming. However, I am expecting a 1 to 4 candle pullback, and I think that's going to put us down here at the base of this trend line. So I'm going to be paying close attention to that because the weekly is very important to me, especially this 9 count on the weekly. The RSI has plenty of room to the upside. So my play here is going to be basically from the 15th through to the 21st. I'm really going to be holding off on taking any real ADA trades or BAT trades unless I see a wick down into this trend support area. And assuming that this 8 is this 7 is the high, then looking from here, I'm also looking for some type of touch, which oddly enough, we could end up getting on the 618 as a pullback right here. Now, I'm expecting more of a touch of this 382 than anything. So I would like to see consolidation, maybe sideways, maybe a shallow wick down, potentially a wick down into the 50% retracement zone, and then a close above this 382 is really what I'm paying attention to right now. Now I would consider this one of the correction candles. So this 8 is starting the correction, so this is correction candle 1. If the 9, however, starts to trade above the 8 and closes the body above the body of this 8 candle on the weekly next week, then I will consider this that there is the potential for more upside based on the RSI, and I am looking at the volume, and the volume's not telling me much. We have some activity here for sure, but we don't have I don't have like clear building momentum. I have, you know, more of a decreasing trend right here, like it's a dead cat bounce followed by another leg down is what I'm actually seeing. And I don't really want that to happen. I like the LBRY project, but I mean, if the asset isn't doing well and the velocity is not good, yeah, it's gonna go down. All right, going over to Populous on the dollar chart. Populous had a huge spike last week. You can see that it is the perfect definition of a inverted hammer candle. And the daily chart has been all consolidation. Now, we did have a 1 to 4 candle correction off of this 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. It was very shallow, but nonetheless, it was a 1 to 4 candle pullback. Now, I think this one candle is telling us it's over, depending on where this candle closes. Now, if this one candle on the daily can close above the midpoint of the body of this 9, I'm expecting a 2 to go above this 1. I don't know where that 2 is going to close, but I am expecting more upside to come. The RSI has been trailing down, but so has the price, so there's nothing to see there. The 4-hour chart, look at that. You have a 2 going above a 1 trying to break the moving averages. Now, it seems to be getting stopped at the 50-period moving average. I am going to be paying attention to this very, very closely because it looks like Populous is trying to make another swing to the upside. What I'm seeing here, pattern-wise, is, and I told you before that I was going to ignore the wicks of those candles that when we had that massive spike. So what I'm seeing here is a descending wedge that broke to the upside. Now this 2 candle is very important on the 4-hour. The 4-hour is going to basically tell us if we have broken this descending wedge, and we're going to continue an uptrend. There's no volume yet, though. That's a concern for me, which means that something's going on where it's either this price is fluctuating basically just off of Bitcoin's relation to Populous and its trading pairs, or there's just no sellers in this area right now. So because there's no sellers, I would like to see more volume spikes and movements. I don't need to see anything crazy like that again. That could screw up the chart. However, if we do see a move to, like, let's say $10, I'd probably set a sell order around $10 and just get out of this asset for now because I don't know where it's going to go. And it's been too little movement on it. All right, let's go over to a couple more. We're going to go over to Theta, and I'm going to throw on ETH. All right, so Theta token. All right, Theta token had a really, really nice run up and breakout, and what you can see here is this is actually a break of an ascending triangle, which is right here. Yeah, this is a nice ascending triangle break. Breaks to the upside. We didn't get a back test. Now, that's a little unfortunate because I like to... well, I mean, here, I can say that this was the break, this was the back test. This 8 candle right here was your back test. So you did get a one-day back test, and then you shot to the upside. Now, you did print your 9. You had a 1 to 4 candle correction. It only came on the 1. You had a 2, but you had your 3 trade above a 2. This is a re-entry point on the DeMark system. Now, I wouldn't have taken this trade, and the reason for that is because we're in this bullish territory on the RSI, but it's a little bit dicey. I would have expected another leg down, to be honest, is what I would have been thinking. Now, when I would have shifted my position is right here on the close of this 4 candle. Actually, this 4 candle right here close is where I would have said, okay, I'm in. I'm back in, and my stop loss would have been set here at this 2. Now, this 5 candle open is where I would have bought, and then I would have been riding up here. The area I would have been paying the most attention to is the same area that I look at for Bitcoin on the 4-hour on the RSI, which is the history of this asset tells me that this is a really good area to start taking profit. Right here, here, and here. And so I would have taken some profit there. Now, the way I would have taken profit is when this 7 candle was trading, and I'll go to the 4-hour to see if there was anywhere else. So I would have been out on this 9. Right here, this 9 I would have taken profit on the 4-hour. The 2 going above the 1, I would have re-entered. And then at the close of this 4 candle, I would have been, because my stop loss would be right here below the 9, you would have seen the 3 close. The way I trade is at the close of the 3, I would have been basically at break even on the 2 candle. So the minute my 3 candle closes, my stop loss goes in where my 2's at a break even price. Now the 4 candle close, I would have moved it to the top of the 3 and I would have got stopped out. And the rest is history on that. That's just how I would have traded. That's my thinking on the DeMark system. Now, what we're making here is a little cup and handle on the Ethereum chart. And I think we actually have we're starting to try and break it. Now, it's not a great cup and handle, mind you. It is a little bit goofy looking. However, let me put that on the chart for you guys to see. You have a little cup right here, and then you've got a tiny little handle right there. Now the 4-hour and the 1-hour are going to show it a lot more clearly. The 4-hour is actually showing a really, really nice spot. So this is the cup here. I see the handle. I see the breakout on the cup right here. Now the neckline is actually tilted on this cup. I don't really like drawing them like this. I prefer to just say, okay, here's the neckline, because this is the area to break anyway, is this spot right here. And I think with the momentum, which is from 1,200 all the way to 19, so a $700 move from here could put us at 2,600 bucks. Now that checks out for me because I'm also expecting Bitcoin to run massively high. Now, is Ethereum going to be out competing Bitcoin's run? Possibly. Ethereum's probably going to outcompete Bitcoin in a percentage run at the moment. Now, is it going to happen at the same time? I don't know. One little cause for concern is this decreasing RSI right here. But I think we are still in the bullish territory, and we have some potential to really break out of this previous top here and here. I am expecting an RSI top more like in January, so where we really just skyrocket from here. The places to look for to take profit for me are going to be in this section. We're going to just throw a fib extension on there. I'm liking the 883 at 2300. 2000 is obviously always a psychological number where you may get stuck for a little bit. The break of 2000 would be my secondary entry. So the breakout here would be entry number 1. And then where I would double down on my trade is the close above $2,000. The close above 2,000 sets me up to think that we have the potential to now move and complete the target on this cup and handle. Now I said 26. Now this is that 1418. I don't really like using the 1418. It tends to work out for some chart patterns that this becomes a really good targeted area. However, I would be looking at 1618 as the potential target. Now, the funny thing is if you take that, the 2044 to here, all the way down to the 1288, that's an $800 move. And now the $800 move off of this from here is 2700. So anywhere in this box, and give yourself a little bit of margin for error, anywhere in this box is really the target for taking profit for me if I'm going to enter this trade. Now, I don't know if I'm going to enter this trade or not yet because I don't know if we're breaking out. I may enter with a very small position, but that's how I think on this chart pattern. Now, we may get rejected and come down, and where does this basically die off? The minute we break, I'm going to get rid of that. The minute you break underneath this line right here, this pattern is completely invalidated. And I am expecting now a move to the downside, potentially a retest of this 1650 area. So there is clear-cut odds that we could end up going down. I'm never opposed to saying that that's off the table. It's very rare. The way I would say that that's highly unlikely is that when we break $2,000 on this chart. When we come back and break 2,000, retest 2,000 real quickly and start moving to the upside, this danger zone is off the table for me, at least in the immediate term, and the likelihood of hitting the target is much higher. All right, going over to Litecoin. Now, I have a couple charts on Litecoin. I have the Litecoin price chart. And the Litecoin price chart is looking good to me. I mean, we have a 2 going above a 1, going above the 9. That looks great. The RSI is trending up. The volume's a little concerning. This is Coinbase, too, so it's not the highest trading platform. But going over to Litecoin USD, I think Binance has the most volume on this asset. So, but all the charts are looking relatively the same. Now, I'm bullish Litecoin for sure, because of this higher low. Now, we've obviously made a higher low here off of this, and we're just kind of figuring out if we're going to break these highs at the 250 area. I think we can do it. I think the dollar value is easily attainable. Now, I'm not really interested in the dollar value of Litecoin. What I'm much more interested in is this chart right here, which is the relationship between Litecoin and Bitcoin, which tells us when to arbitrage, or at least which is what I've been working with, which is trying to tell me when to arbitrage between the two cryptocurrencies, treating Litecoin like a silver hedge. And I'm probably going to be doing this for Ethereum as well. Even though the fees are insane on Ethereum, I think there are potential moves to make profit in Ethereum exceeding that of Bitcoin in the short term, but Bitcoin is always going to be the long-term store that things need to be pushed back into. Now, I'm really, really liking this area right here, which looks like it's turning into support. And for me, the 4-hour is a little too steep of a run right now. I was not paying attention to this chart when this happened. Otherwise, I would have arbitraged into BTC, into LTC, a little bit of my BTC. Now, this red line is where I think the perfect bottom is to push back into LTC from BTC. And because we're in the middle of this giant descending wedge, which I have drawn all the way back from back here, I mean, there's just not really... There's just nothing else for me, personally, to do while we're inside this wedge. I mean, there's places to buy on the bottom and sell on the top, but as far as moving in between the two assets, this wedge is really a no trade zone for me. And until we break this pattern, I'm just going to maintain that we're that this area is just dangerous. It's dangerous to try and move anywhere between Bitcoin and Litecoin inside of this inside of this wedge. Now, this is a bullish pattern. The RSI's been diverging, and if you can chart it, you can trade it. However, this is telling me the fundamentals between Bitcoin and Litecoin are just starting to separate at a very, very drastic level. And I think that is impressive to see that Bitcoin is really starting to separate from the pack very, very thoroughly. Now, I'm not convinced that Litecoin doesn't have another pump coming into it, just like we saw back here, which turned this into a $400 or $150 asset from a $10 asset. I'm not convinced that we don't have another one of those pumps coming. The likelihood of it occurring is getting higher and higher the further we go into the bottom of this wedge, because this is a depression setting in very, very deeply, especially on the BTC charts of Litecoin. Now, they look slightly similar, the BTC charts of Litecoin versus Bitcoin, but for me, they don't look close enough. I need a longer chart. I think it's cracking. I don't see cracking anywhere. Whatever, Coinbase is fine. Where are we in the psychological phase of this market cycle? Well, I think we're in the depths of depression, really, on Litecoin trading. I think this is despair right down here. And it's just been one little tick down after another. And let me see if I can pull up. Let me see if I can find an image for you guys. And I'll pull this up. There it is. This is the Wall Street cheat sheet. This is something to pay attention to. This is the psychological states people go into when they're trading, depending on where the asset is relative to their entry. And this area, and let me see if I can kind of pop it right like that so we can see. Looking through this area right here, especially when we try and, take a good look, this looks like this area right here. So it's not the perfect cycle, but if we were to take this right here, move this up, you've got your track here, you've got your retracement, you got your lower high, you've got your breakdown from your lower high, you've got your little bounce area right here, you've got your false hope momentum right here, followed by more downside. Trying to get this as close as I can. And then this whole area right here just looked like this. And then this kind of move down has really made me question whether or not we're just in the depths of depression at this area, this very, very bottomy portion where I haven't seen the it really is like a V-shaped recovery that we should kind of happen, like a capitulation followed by a really nice spike. And I've been kind of waiting to see if we're going to get a capitulation or if we're going to make a situation where we break this area right here. And this has been really important, is this slot right here has been like a line that I've been really wondering if we're going to break above. And it's that 44 area. And if we can break above this 44 area, I think that sets us off for another one of these parabolic moves. And I think it's going to happen fast. I mean, this happened in the span of 112 days, so 4 months roughly, 15, 16 weeks. So in 16 weeks, you moved, and just to give you the percentage move off this, and this is in relation to Bitcoin, okay? So Bitcoin was doing its own thing as well. You moved 180%, which isn't anything to sneeze at. That's a lot. That's a huge move to the upside. So if you can 5x your price, on Litecoin relative to Bitcoin, I don't know where that dollar value is going to be, but the point is that you can get more Bitcoin back from a shorter term investment into Litecoin to arbitrage. Now, where do I think this can go? I mean, I'm still of the opinion that we've literally just been pulling back constantly. And if this is really the bottom right down here, and I don't know if it is or not, but if this is the bottom, I am expecting to try and get back up into this 618 area. And if we can't get to the 618, then I'm looking at this 50. Now the 382 may stop us, but that would signal to me that the Litecoin asset itself is no longer in any way, shape, and form competitive with Bitcoin, if that occurs. Now, if we come up to here and we make a higher low, and then we break this, that's a different story. That's a bull trend relative to Bitcoin, and then that makes me reevaluate. But that's what I'm really seeing here. And I just kind of wanted to go over that for you so you can kind of get a gauge of where my headspace is at. And I think that's everything we have to talk about for today. I will try and do a secondary update tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Bye for now.